You've been dieting for months, cutting calories, is doing cardio, maybe even intermittent fasting, and yet that stubborn belly fat refuses to budge. And here's what makes it worse. Your doctor ran your labs, told you everything looks fine, maybe even suggested you just need to eat less and move more. But you know something deeper is going on. Because this isn't about willpower, this isn't about discipline, this is about two master hormones that have hijacked your metabolism, cortisol and insulin. And when they get trapped in a vicious cycle, your body literally cannot release stored fat, no matter how clean you eat. I'm Dr. John Kim, and I've spent years helping patients escape this metabolic prison. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why your belly fat is stuck, and more importantly, how to break free. And you need to watch this full video, because the solution isn't another diet plan. It's a protocol that addresses the root cause of why your body is holding on to fat for survival. Let me start with a hard truth that most doctors won't tell you. Your belly fat is not a cosmetic problem. It's a hormonal distress signal. When you store visceral fat around your midsection, your body is screaming that something is broken at the metabolic level, and that something is almost always the cortisol and insulin trap. Here's how it works. Cortisol is your stress hormone, released by your adrenal glands whenever your body perceives a threat. And I'm not just talking about psychological stress, I'm talking about inflammation, blood sugar crashes, lack of sleep, overtraining, even calorie restriction. And here's the kicker. When cortisol is chronically elevated, it sends a direct signal to your fat cells, specifically the ones around your abdomen, to hold on to fat. Because from an evolutionary standpoint, chronic cortisol means famine or danger, and your body wants energy reserves close to your vital organs. But it gets worse. Cortisol also raises your blood sugar, even when you haven't eaten anything. By breaking down muscle tissue and converting it to glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. And when your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas releases insulin, the storage hormone. Now, insulin's job is to shuttle glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells. But when insulin is constantly elevated, your cells become resistant. They stop listening, and your body has to pump out more insulin just to do the same job. This is called insulin resistance, and it's the metabolic foundation of belly fat. Because when insulin is high, fat burning is impossible. Insulin literally locks the door to your fat cells. It flips your metabolism into storage mode, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle where you're always hungry, always tired, and always gaining weight around your midsection. So now you have cortisol raising your blood sugar, insulin trying to store that sugar as fat, and your fat cells getting bigger and more inflamed. And here's where the trap closes. That visceral belly fat you're carrying, it's not metabolically inert, it's an endocrine organ, meaning it produces its own hormones, specifically inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6. And these cytokines create more insulin resistance, which forces your pancreas to make more insulin, which stores more fat, which creates more inflammation. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. And the worst part, cutting calories actually makes it worse. Because when you slash your food intake, your body perceives that as a stressor. And what does it do? It releases more cortisol. And more cortisol means more blood sugar, more insulin, more fat storage, and a slower metabolism. This is why so many people hit a plateau, or worse, gain the weight back even faster. They're fighting their hormones, not their appetite. By the way, if you are tired of being told your labs are normal when you know something is wrong, hit that subscribe button. We are building a community that demands real answers, and I want you to be part of it. Now let's talk about what actually breaks this cycle, because once you understand the mechanism, the solution becomes clear. You have to do three things simultaneously: lower cortisol, restore insulin sensitivity, and reduce inflammation. And this doesn't happen with willpower. It happens with strategic intervention. First, you have to stop the cortisol bleed. That means addressing your real stressor, not just the obvious ones. Are you sleeping less than 7 hours a night? Because sleep deprivation is one of the most potent cortisol triggers we know. Are you doing chronic cardio, hour-long runs, spin classes because excessive endurance exercise without recovery is a massive adrenal stressor? Are you eating too little? Because calorie restriction below your basal metabolic rate puts your body into survival mode. Are you skipping meals because long gaps between eating cause blood sugar crashes, which spike cortisol? You need to treat your adrenals like they're recovering from trauma because they are. That means prioritizing sleep, managing your training intensity, and eating enough nutrient-dense food to signal safety to your nervous system. Second, you have to restore insulin sensitivity. And this is where the Eastern wisdom meets Western science. Insulin resistance is fundamentally a problem of cellular inflammation. Your cell membranes are damaged, your mitochondria are dysfunctional, and your cells can't respond to insulin signal. So you need to reduce inflammatory triggers, processed seed oil, refined sugars, the gluten, dairy if you're sensitive, and environmental toxins. But you also need to give your pancreas a break. This is where time-restricted eating becomes powerful, not because of calorie restriction, but because it gives your body extended periods of low insulin. When insulin is low, your body can finally access stored fat for energy, and your cells can repair their insulin receptors. I typically recommend a 12 to 16 hour eating window, starting with a protein-rich breakfast to stabilize blood sugar, and ending dinner at least 3 hours before bed. But here's the critical part. You're not starving yourself. You're eating enough during your eating window to support your metabolism, especially protein and healthy fats, because protein stabilizes blood sugar, and healthy fats support hormone production and reduce inflammation. Third, you have to address the inflammation directly. This means supporting your gut because 70% of your immune system lives in your digestive tract, and a leaky gut is a guaranteed source of chronic inflammation. You need to heal your gut lining with bone broth, collagen, L-glutamine, and eliminate foods that are triggering immune reactions. You also need to support your liver because your liver is responsible for clearing excess estrogen and cortisol metabolites. And a congested liver means those hormones recirculate and keep the cycle going. Cruciferous vegetables, dandelion root, milk thistle, these are non-negotiables. And you need to flood your system with polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids because these compounds directly reduce the inflammatory cytokines that are driving insulin resistance. Think wild-caught fish, flaxseed, walnuts, berries, green tea, turmeric. Now, here's what most people miss. This is not a 30-day fix because your body didn't get into this trap overnight, and it's not getting out overnight. You're rewiring metabolic pathways that have been broken for years. But here's the good news. Within 2 to 4 weeks of following this protocol, most people notice their energy stabilizing, their cravings disappearing, and their waistline starting to shrink. Because when you lower cortisol, when you restore insulin sensitivity, when you reduce inflammation, your body finally feels safe enough to release stored fat. And that's when the magic happens. Your metabolism shifts from storage mode to burning mode. Your hunger hormones regulate, and your body starts using fat for fuel the way it was designed to. But you have to be patient, and you have to be consistent. Because every time you spike your cortisol with poor sleep or chronic stress, every time you spike your insulin with processed carbs, you're reinforcing the trap. This is a lifestyle recalibration, not a diet, and it requires you to prioritize your metabolic health the same way you prioritize everything else in your life. Let me leave you with this. Your belly fat is not your enemy, but it's a messenger. It's telling you that your body is stuck in survival mode, that your hormones are out of balance, and that you need to address the root cause, not just the symptom. Western medicine will tell you to eat less and exercise more, but that's like telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. Eastern wisdom understands that the body is an interconnected system, and when you support that system holistically, healing happens naturally. So stop fighting your body and start listening to it. If this resonates with you, don't guess with your health. Click the link below to book a discovery call with my team, or watch this video next where I break down 5 signs you have high cortisol, stress belly. Your body wants to heal. You just have to give it the right conditions. I'll see you in the next one.